Oh, fuck.
Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim Nakrin here with attorney Suri Chadha Jimenez. Thanks so much for being with us, Suri. So, Suri, of course, one of the reasons we invited you here is because you represented a defendant on the YSL case, and you continue to follow it very, very closely. And we have been following, of course, YSL and streaming it live on our secondary stream, Gavel to Gavel. The latest developments that we have been following this week involve really this testimony from a former co-defendant, Trontavia Stevens. I want to show our viewers some of the video from inside the courtroom. So a former defendant, Trontavia Stevens, has been on the stand throughout the week and actually began his testimony last week. And what we're looking at now appears to be some video that is a push and pee, which is where prosecutors allege, that young thug Jeffrey Williams flashes a gang sign. His lawyers and former co-defendant Trontavia Stevens claim it's not a gang sign, and that's kind of the back and forth debate here. Okay, so I've got a lot of questions for you, Suri, but first of all, what do you think of that video and this allegation that that's a gang sign?
Oh, it's a great video. It's super entertaining. I love that song. I mean, it gets you going. You can go to the gym and you can play it, and you're going to be, pushing pounds, pushing positivity. It's a great song. Very, very good way to show the jury that this guy is an entertainer with incredible talent that gets people moving, and there is absolutely no need for him to be involved with the day-to-day transactions of whatever gang members are doing on their own volition.
So, this week, again, we've heard from Trontavia Stevens, and like I said, he started his testimony last week on direct examination. He, just to recap for our viewers who may not be familiar, Trontavious pled guilty, took a plea deal, turned state's witness, and he has been testifying for the state. During this week, we've seen his cross-examination, and vigorous cross-examination, especially between involving Brian Steele, the defense attorney for young thug, Jeffrey Williams, and I mean some of the highlights of the testimony of Trontavious, Suri, he has said in court, he has testified in court that YSL was in fact a criminal street gang, was a gang. He has said that he co-founded YSL with Jeffrey Williams. He has also said that all 6 defendants in this case were gang members, were members of this YSL gang. All of that on its face sounds extremely strong for the prosecution's case.
I don't see why. I don't see why that's a strength at all.
And that's why I want to ask you, yeah.
What, in closing, what I'm sure at least now 6 attorneys, or maybe might be less by then because they might end up dropping other people when they realize they don't have enough evidence. But in closing, what you will see is that the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution guarantees the right of association. You have a right to free speech. You have a right to associate however you want. And if you want to form a group, and in that group you want to call yourself Young Slime Life, Young Stoner Life, Atlanta News First, whatever that group you want to be associated with, it is your right. It is not illegal to be in a gang. It is not illegal to create a gang. So yes, he testified, me and my brother over there, I call him brother, I call him thug. We created a group because we had some stuff in common. We grew up, or we hung out in the same place, and we liked the same type of music, and we wanted to build something. And they built an amazing record label, and that is what it's on trial here. First Amendment protected speech, First Amendment protected right of association. That is what Fulton County is prosecuting.
Now, I do want to emphasize for our viewers, this is your opinion, and it is a controversial opinion, and there's a reason why you are a criminal defense attorney, and you were you had a defendant on this case on YSL. You feel very strongly about your opinions. You have certain opinions. Not everyone's going to agree with you. But that said, you say that a gang per se is not illegal. You say that what is illegal, what does violate the RICO Act, is if there are criminal acts committed in furtherance of the gang, and if this gang essentially is engaged in crimes.
Absolutely. There needs to be a connection. And it's not just because I'm a defense attorney that I am passionate about that. I am passionate about that because I am an attorney. I'm also a former prosecutor, and I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. And the First Amendment of the Constitution guarantees these rights of association. Now, if you decide to associate, if you decide to create a group that you're going to call yourselves ANF, and then the members of this group are committing crimes in furtherance of ANF, at that point, that becomes a crime. But this just being associated and creating the ANF group, that is not a crime. And you're going to hear that from the state. They're going to downplay it, but you're definitely going to hear it, and it's going to be explained to you by the defense attorneys and even the judge when the judge tells them what the law is.
What is a criminal enterprise?
A criminal enterprise, I guess it's the conspiracy theories that the state has, that somebody happens to be associated and there's crimes being committed. But so far, there's been no evidence of that. I do believe Mr. Slug, that's what his street name is, that's what he went by. What he has testified is that anybody can claim YSL. A lot of people out there on the streets may be committing crimes and may be hashtagging YSL, maybe throwing up signs YSL. Anybody can do it. No one can stop them. So there is actually no link with these individual crimes done by random people and whether or not that is in furtherance of the gang. They haven't shown that connection. That is their burden, and I doubt they'll be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Now, you said that Trontavious Stevens' testimony, in your view, was very honest. You made some comments about the circumstances surrounding his plea deal and the way he talked about that. Can you share?
Well, I think Mr. Steele did an amazing job in letting the jury know the circumstances and the context of what led Mr. Stevens to decide to cooperate with the state. He was incarcerated in one of the worst jails of the nation, in bedbug-ridden Rice Street, where people were being murdered around him. He had no access to good food. He had no access to proper clothing when it's too hot. There's not enough AC when it's too cold. He doesn't have enough clothing or blankets to stay warm. And they came to him with an offer where, hey, even though you are facing up to have some self-interest of survival, and if he had stayed in that jail, there's no guarantee that he would have stayed alive. One of the co-defendants was stabbed right before Christmas. It is not a safe place. No human being should be held there. It is disgusting, and this is the reason why he decided to cooperate with the state, and now he's being honest. He's saying, yes, I created a gang, and yes, I'm here because they told me I could get to go home.
And, of course, we act now in this case moving forward. I mean, you seem to think that Trontavious Stevens really hasn't, that the state hasn't met their burden, even after and of course this is still, first, early phase of the trial, but the state is not meeting their burden. They're not on the road to meeting their burden of proof. You still feel that way?
What has it been, a week? A week of testimony? And where's the smoking gun? Where is oh my God, yes, definitely, the state is right. No, we're still dragging along, and just the jurors are falling asleep, and we don't even know what's going on. The case keeps getting pushed out. Holidays, breaks because, somebody's sick. I just think about, what former President Clinton said. You want to prove this case, just keep it simple.
Okay. Now, you also pointed out that Trontavious Stevens has been on the stand for quite a long time. You think that is excessive and inefficient?
Yeah, it's if they had very solid evidence coming from him, it shouldn't take that long to get it out. I mean, there was like a spelling bee challenge at one point where the state asked Mr. Stevens, "Hey, what is a snitch? Can you use that in a sentence?" I mean, this is ridiculous. Just get to the point. But the reality is that there's no point because there is no evidence, and all they're doing is dragging it out to exhaust the jurors in the hope that those jurors are going to be so tired they're going to say guilty to everybody for everything so they can get to go home.
So, wow, you clearly have some very strong feelings about this. So we, of course, 400 or so witnesses on the witness list. How many do you think we'll actually hear from?
Definitely more than half, probably
Okay.
close to 300.
Okay.
And why? I don't know why. I don't see the necessity for that. There's a lot of duplicative stuff, a lot of cumulative stuff, and so far I haven't seen any evidence that was just so impressive that the jurors would say, "Oh yes, the state has met its burden, and these people are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt."
And just a reminder that the YSL trial is going to continue on January 22nd. The court has wrapped up for the week, actually, and, it's going to be dark tomorrow. It's going to be dark next week. But again, testimony is going to resume January 22nd. And Trontavia Stevens, a former co-defendant, is expected to retake the stand, being cross-examined by more of the defense attorneys. Okay, Suri, any final thoughts on this topic before we move on?
I think just like that guy that crashed the Zoom, which is completely inappropriate. People shouldn't be hacking into the Zoom. That's dumb. It doesn't help anybody. But what he said, it ain't no lie. Free Jeffrey, and it should be a mistrial.
Oh, wow. Okay. You have some very strong feelings about it. All right, let's talk about another topic, another hot legal topic that has been on the radar as well. And so this concerns Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Green. She has filed a criminal complaint against a criminal misconduct complaint against the Fulton County District Attorney Fani WIllis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, alleging an improper relationship between WIllis and Wade. She's asking for a criminal investigation. And, I shared with our viewers earlier this week when, there was a motion filed by one of the defense attorneys in the massive RICO case against former President Trump and his co-defendants. Of course, they're accused of various election interference related crimes, and one of the defendants there is Michael Roman. Michael Roman's attorney, Ashley Merchant, filed this motion. It was like a 41-page motion, and she basically alleged this improper relationship between Fani WIllis and Special Prosecutor, Trump Prosecutor Nathan Wade, and she called for the charges to be dismissed. She called for these two individuals to be, removed from being involved in the case as well. Be disqualified, I should say. So, does this statement now, this request from MTG, have any legal weight? Does it have any significance in relation to this motion?
Well, I'm going to focus on Merchant, because Merchant is an amazing attorney. She is a beast. She does some great work throughout the state, and she has gotten incredible results for her clients. And usually she's able to find things that I have no idea how she has access to this information. She has an impressive team. So when people are saying that there's no substantiation to these claims, I don't think she would have put anything in writing if it wasn't, she couldn't back it up. That said, the allegations are troubling because they look improper. And as you have said multiple times, I ain't no friend of the DA's office. I'm a defense attorney. I go through your words. I'm very biased. But
I didn't say you were biased. But I wouldn't say that
roll back the tape.
But I wouldn't say you're not biased.
So what is being alleged is a romantic relationship between two consenting adults. If there's anything that's a problem here, is the appearance of impropriety. Whether or not a prosecutor is having a romantic relationship with their boss, that has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not a person or 19 people committed a crime and that prosecutor has the duty to prosecute them if it happened in their district, if it happened in their county. So they could have been more transparent about it if, in fact, this is true. But I don't see the relationship between what consenting adults do in their own bedroom or in trips or whatever and the prosecution of alleged crimes. That's my opinion about that. Now, regarding MTG, I don't see what she has to do with this at all. This is a case in Fulton County, Georgia. I do believe MTG represents some parts of Georgia. I'm very sure that they're probably very proud of who they elected. The rest of Georgia did not elect her. This is not her district. She works for the federal government. There should be a clear separation of powers. She needs to worry about what's happening in the federal government. She needs to worry about what's happening in her district. She's got nothing to do with Fulton County, so I don't even know what she's involved in, other than she's trying to protect her leader, because her leader is accused of some very serious crimes, and I guess she doesn't like that very much.
All right, Suri, I think, no one can accuse you of being a fence sitter, I'll say that. Any final thoughts on this case? I mean, you said essentially it doesn't carry legal weight, that, it's a statement, but essentially because Marjorie Taylor Green is not, she's not Fulton, in Fulton County and so forth, it doesn't really carry legal weight in terms of persuading a prosecution.
I mean, the prosecutors are human, and they do things like every other person does. Some people have relationships, some people go on trips. When you are elected official, maybe there needs to be take some steps to show some light into your actions, because you are a public figure, and maybe be upfront about what's going on. But again, nobody is accusing the DA of committing a crime. Nobody is accusing them of mishandling evidence or fabricating evidence against the defendants. Just because somebody, if they're true, just because somebody has a romantic relationship within the office, that has nothing to do, in my opinion, with whether or not somebody should be prosecuted for the crimes they have allegedly committed.
And going back to the motion filed by Ashley Merchant, Michael Roman's attorney, ultimately, do you think it's going to be successful?
I don't think so. I think it's just something that she filed because if she has that information, it is incumbent, and she believes it's her duty to put it out there and let the court know and make sure that any appearance of impropriety is flushed out. But I don't see the direct relationship to a dismissal. I don't see how this rises to prosecutorial misconduct. But we will see. It'll be up to the courts.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Suri Chadha Jimenez, for joining us with your insight and analysis. Before I let you go, if somebody wants to hire you,
Call me.
You're
Call me
laughing.
anytime. If you recuse of something, then we will help you.
It depends what it is, I suppose.
No. It depends whether or not it happens in Georgia. If it happened in Georgia, I got you.
I think I think you might be over promising, but we'll see.
I'm a little biased.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Okay, Suri. One more thing. One more thing before I let you go.
Sure.
I know you have a gag order, but I'm going to try to ask anyway. So you are representing Ayla King, who is the first defendant who is scheduled to go on trial in the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center RICO case. So this is, about some protests. We understand that the trial has been postponed. The opening statements were supposed to take place yesterday. The trial has been postponed, and there is an appeal being filed. Do you deny that?
There's no comment.
Okay, I tried. I did my duty as a journalist. I did my due diligence. But we do understand there's a gag order there. Thank you so much, Suri Chadha Jimenez, for joining us with your insight and analysis.
Thank you.